Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and today we're looking at the aftermath of the whole MrBeast stuff that has basically been taking the internet by storm the last month, and it's actually become pretty much mainstream news to the point that people who don't have any connection to YouTube are actually kind of talking about it. So I've covered a couple videos of popular MrBeast investigators in this case. One of them was Dogpack404, who's made several videos in this case covering MrBeast live stream and bringing forward some really wild and wacky allegations. So to begin with, let me just recap this whole thing real quickly in a couple minutes. All right, one of the big allegations was around a former massive MrBeast member, Chris Tyson, who, was alleged to be holding on to some wild art from a, creator known as Shadman. Also alleged to apparently have some rather risque things and jokes said in a Discord server that had a mixture of adults and minors all brought into it. Not a good look at all. Since then, Chris Tyson's pretty much left the internet. MrBeast has pretty much abandoned any support for them. But of course, the whole spotlight shifted over to MrBeast's company, when Dogpack404 made a couple of videos where he was alleging some pretty serious stuff. One of them was that MrBeast was allegedly running some crazy lotteries for children. Giveaways would end up being games of chance and actual lotteries that, was a pretty serious thing, right? When you're making content for children and you're giving things away, there's a pretty ethical issue of like, how do you distribute stuff? How do you give away prizes? How do you do giveaways? And how do you produce content that isn't designed to exploit children whatsoever, right? Which is something that I'm still kind of waiting for an answer on. Now, the other massive serious allegation was that MrBeast had knowingly hired a criminal, okay? Now, one of the people that was working in the MrBeast company, Delaware, who is on plenty of these videos, sometimes masked up, was unmasked by Dogpack404 into actually having a criminal record where they were involved rather, grossly with a minor. And in this situation, what effectively happened was apparently alleging to Dogpack404 and the people, bringing these allegations, MrBeast and their mother knowingly hired a criminal, into their company. So it is really, really wild, wild stuff. Now, of course, this is on the backs of one of the largest productions and MrBeast has ever really been on. One where he has to team up with one of the largest corporations in the world, Amazon, producing the Beast Games in Las Vegas. And that's also its own rabbit hole of serious concerns, where actual class action lawsuits have been filed. Now, the reason why the story is, again, very important to me is I'm always interested in any kind of criminality at times whenever, like, YouTubers are kind of involved, okay? And for me, obviously, if you've watched some of my financial investigations or crypto investigations, you've seen that there have been some rather intense takedowns of some pretty larger YouTubers getting involved with pretty shady cryptocurrencies. But I also consider things like, mishandling employees. I consider things like what is allegedly happening in the MrBeast, where people aren't being treated right. These are, to me, as severe as any financial allegation that I've ever seen. And, before somebody goes, oh, this is just drama, I don't consider any form of this to really be drama. To me, drama is like really stupid stuff. Like when a creator cheats on a significant other. To me, that's a shitty thing, but that's just tabloid gossip that I'm kind of involving myself into. This has some serious stakes into it. The serious stakes being that, ultimately it is a poor reflection on YouTubers if the biggest YouTuber in the game is unfortunately involved and is participating in unsavory activities or mishandling a company. It makes other advertisers, it makes other people from other avenues of entertainment or big companies more resistant to work with a YouTuber, because once you've had the biggest YouTuber fucking up, how likely is it that the average YouTuber, or a slightly larger YouTuber, but not as large as MrBeast, somebody with like 10 million subscribers, 20 million subscribers, is as, are they also going to be responsible? If the biggest guy can't be responsible, what chance is it for the people below them, right? So anyways, long spiel out of the way. One of the things that kind of really got me was, again, Dogpack's most recent video, MrBeast's secret CEO. So the way that these videos are presented, and they're kind of like these 27-minute long pieces where like Dogpack sits in front of this like digital like conspiracy like board where he just has like all these articles and shit brought up. So one of the things that really irked me was this line from the video right here. And I want to see if you guys can identify what irks me as well, given that I teach all of you guys to basically take everything you hear on the internet with a grain of salt and always apply some critical fucking thinking.
About James Warren by name in my last video. His Instagram and Facebook got taken down, and his LinkedIn got taken down. So quick profile on James Warren. He's Jimmy's cousin and secret CEO, and I say secret because, you know, they're not very open about that fact. Like he doesn't post about it on social media. It wasn't ever attached to his LinkedIn. He's never featured or really referenced anywhere. I heard that he's very aggressive. I've heard him referred to as a psychopath who screams at people and hits his girlfriends. There's allegedly domestic violence charges that were filed against him. And I say allegedly because it turns out there's a lot of people in North Carolina named James Warren who assault their girlfriends, I guess. So I'm still having people look into these cases, specifically that surprise witness on YouTube. She's been super helpful in like...
What? Wait, hold on a minute. So you're going to make a 27-minute long video about a pretty serious topic, and you're going to bring some pretty serious charges up. Domestic violence is no joke, okay? It's something that happens all the time, all right, unfortunately. And the perpetrators behind it sometimes get away with some dastardly things, and sometimes it can lead to the ultimate end for, you know, the victim party. So this is not some joke, and to not properly verify or vet this claim before you even brought it up involving an entire name, even if you use the words like allegedly, it's a pretty shitty thing to do from an investigatory standpoint. That surprise witness TV person they brought up, well, it gets even spicier here.
They're alleging things. One of the things that these people are alleging, or one of these people has alleged to Dawson, is James Warren, this guy we just talked about, the secret CEO, had committed some type of domestic incident, some type of harm onto a girl that he was dating. I did look into this, and I went into it thinking he had done that. Okay, I went into it thinking he did it, and I'm just gonna have to find the paperwork for it. I searched and searched and searched, and there was one case number I looked into. Again, I could probably make a whole video on this, but suffice it to say that I do not think that the case number that is associated with this picture right here, and I told Dawson this, and that's why he said this in the video, I do not think that this particular case is the same James Warren. For many reasons, like I said, I did a few hours of research just into this case alone. I was in the property records. I was on Facebook looking people up. I was doing all kind of looking at the marriage records in the newspaper. I just don't think this is the same James Warren. It doesn't even appear that this James Warren is even related to this James Warren that we're talking about. And there's it's a common name. James, a very common name. We got 11 Jameses and Jakes just at the MrBeast company. So I don't think that that is him. So I am not prepared to make the allegation that he committed some type of domestic incident that has been...
Bro, when the source you just put up on the fucking screen is going, yeah, I wouldn't vote on that. I wouldn't sign up with that, chief. That doesn't seem like a good thing. I wouldn't co-sign it. That's not good, okay? This is like a principal part of the video that you deliberately have fucked up on, in my opinion, okay? Because anybody that is editing these videos, if you watched it back, you would question and think to yourself, wow, maybe I should vet these crazy allegations before I go through with it, giving these people an out. You know, if you have to make a video, like this is where it's like, you know, in a serious news organization, this would have been a fucking retraction, okay? If I made a fuck up this big, the next video would have been like, I fucked up, here is an official retraction. Retractions are the most embarrassing things you can do, especially when you're bringing forth serious things like this, okay? This is not okay in any capacity. And basically, for me and most normal critical thinking people out there, which thankfully there is the majority of in my personal belief, will sit there and go, yeah, I really can't believe anything you say going forward. This is fucked up. And again, leave it to these YouTubers, by the way, to have like the most insane you know, fucking laser focus when it comes to looking through marriage records and shit in regards to any case. Goddamn, dude. I swear to God, sometimes these T-channels surprise me. Look, at the end of all this, I'm sure that the intentions for this Dogpack character are probably in the right place, but, you know, as somebody that is being a narrator to the story, you are doing unimaginably more harm by ruining your own credibility, which means if there were actual victims in this entire story, because they're attaching themselves to you and you're waning credibility, it ultimately hurts them in the process. And there is no reverse from that, okay? It's as sad as time immemorial, okay? I've seen it happen before with other cases involving vampires and fucking werewolves, but we'll save that for a different day. Now, again, unfortunately, Dogpack comes in and even says, yeah, a little update on those charges, by the way. The 6 NC criminal court cases were not for DV. I still have some FOIA requests out by an alleged current MrBeast employee reached out to me giving me their side of the story. I think this person is mistaken with a lot of details, but I do now believe the James Warren DV case that circulated the office was most likely the wrong James Warren. Of course, none of my sources knew that. I tried multiple times to get in touch with the person who allegedly found the charges before making my video and did not get a response. I should have waited on the FOIA requests before mentioning the DV charges allegation. You know, anytime we also research on cases too, and when I work with other investigators or even by myself, you know, generally speaking, nobody uploads a video or even, I guess you could say, teases at a new video until you've got all your ducks in a row, okay? Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for failure, right? You know, if you go back to like any investigation I've done on anybody or any product or any group or any crypto scam, every single piece of evidence I've needed to narrate the story from A to B to give you a full to start end has already been captured before a video has been produced or even teased, which is something I don't really see anymore in amongst these like new wave of like investigators on the internet. If you're going to investigate something, make sure you have all your ducks in a row and stop like releasing a video when you don't actually have all the evidence brought to you, because chances are, in this case, like we've seen, the evidence that was brought forward, unfortunately, gave him the actual gut punch and not MrBeast. So anyways, that's enough of the whole Dogpack stuff right there, ladies and gentlemen. To be honest with you, I kind of want to move on forward to something else that's kind of started. Now, obviously, since this, there has really not been any response from MrBeast, and to be honest, I don't really think he probably has to respond. His channel seems to be doing just as fine. I think I haven't looked at the view stats myself, but it seems to be doing just fine. The longer he goes without answering for it, the more interest in this quickly just wanes off. It's kind of the ultimate response to any wild YouTube controversy. The longer you can stray away from like saying anything, the better it is ultimately as a creator, right? Like better it is for you. So since then, there has been another wild controversy that kicked in. Apparently, MrBeast, Logan Paul, and KSI launched Lunchly, okay? Now, if you're looking at this, you're probably like, whoa, Muda, this shit's like, this reminds me of a Lunchable. And it's probably true. It's similar. But the thing is, these are filled with Prime and Feastables. So you got some electrolytes, some chocolate, and you've got like some pizzas with maybe like some strands of fucking mozzarella. And you got some nachos, and you got some turkey cracker stackers. Now, to be real, I personally don't really care so much about looking through these products. Much like Feastables and much like Prime, it's just another product that a lot of these creators build to sell to audiences. And a lot of creators, ultimately do end up building businesses. That's not really something that I'm so hard on for them. But obviously, this is a product that's designed to necessarily, compete and be sold to children as sort of like a healthy alternative to the slop that apparently is Lunchables, okay? So inside here, what they talk about is Lunchlies, okay? We've got the same protein, less calories, electrolyte. That Capri Sun's only got 55 fucking milligrams, motherfucker. Okay, the electrolytes we're packing in Prime, 400 mgs, and of course, less sugar. So of course, that's pretty much their branding right here. But one branding that made me literally laugh my ass off was this right here. Lunchly is changing the grab and go game with an innovative approach. We're here to fuel your fun from the lunchroom to the break room by packing every Lunchly box with a Prime hydration and Feastable bars. So, the guy that wants to fight like childhood obesity is like, yeah, here, let's chug up on coconut water and like, and chocolate, kids. Get ready and sign up for that. I love this advertising the most out of it, dude. It's like, Lunchly, we've got the flavorful combos versus the standard picks. Yeah, I'm going to leave it up to Prime and Feastables adding on to that flavor, because I'm sure there's no difference between turkey cracker stackers. 400 mg electrolytes. I love this one. Bold packaging versus basic packaging. Because that's what you're excited about when you're getting your fucking Lunchable, right? What does the packaging look like? I love this one. If you buy the leading brand, you get mid moments. If you buy us, you get big gestures. It's like this was made for Kevin from The Office, okay? He's like, oh yeah, I want bold and big. I love how when they say standard picks, it's like, dog, isn't like every single combo you're building just a copy from like Lunchables anyways? Like, how is it, whatever. So obviously this pretty much spiked a lot of resentment from some other YouTubers, all right, large ones out there. Dan the Diamond Minecart ends up going, what happened to YouTubers, man? I can't not say anything anymore. This is selling stuff for the sake of making money, simple. But how does this benefit their fans? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling to them do better. Now, obviously, this sparked a little bit of discourse. I mean, hey, look, a lot of YouTubers sell stuff to the audience. But I'm a little bit sympathetic to people like Dan the Diamond Minecart here because I do really kind of understand the third aspect of the line. This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them, right? So, you know, if kids think that they're going to get a better, healthier alternative, which is what it's being billed as. You know, if you look at MrBeast's response, Lunchable sells hundreds of millions of units and countless people eat it. Our goal is to give people a better alternative to it. So their better alternative is, for example, the turkey meal has 80 less calories, which fine, 60% less sugar, more electrolytes. So the more electrolytes is a huge thing. Also, they say they use real cheese. Apparently, everyone else uses like cheese product, apparently, and they use higher quality meat, whatever. Obviously, eating fresh chicken and broccoli is healthier, but if someone is going to eat a pre-made meal like this, then I think giving them a higher quality version at roughly the same price is a net good IMO. So the thing about all of this is, listen, I get what Dan the Diamond Minecart says. Kids have to kind of believe this stuff, right? They have to believe what these people are saying, and they're kind of selling it as a healthy alternative. And when I think you're selling things as a healthy alternative, you better be upfront. For instance, you know, I like Sour GG, okay? This is my candy drop. Go to sour.gg, check it out. Use code SOCK for 50% off. Boom. But this is candy, okay? You know, when I tell you eating candy, you should do it in moderation, okay? It's like having a beer. I enjoy one every once in a while. I don't drink 8 at a time, all right? There it is. Eat things within moderation. But when you're selling things as kind of a healthy alternative, it's always interesting to see actual doctors talk about it, okay? So here's an actual doctor discussing that specific meal. A doctor that even Logan fucking scumbag Paul had to call out. Watch this.
So they're advertising that more electrolytes are good. And that is the fundamental problem here and the lack of misunderstanding with electrolytes and hydration that has frankly gotten out of control with just this electrolyte hydration beverage market. Yes, there's no doubt that our bodies need proper amounts of electrolytes to function. Electrolytes are crucial. Things like sodium, potassium, chloride, calcium, magnesium for the function of literally almost everything in our body, muscles, nerves. You have to have proper levels of all those electrolytes. If they become too high, you have problems. If they become too low, you have problems. Generally speaking, our bodies do a very, very good job of managing the proper balance of electrolytes. We shouldn't have to rely on external supplementation of electrolytes beyond our food for just normal daily healthy function. And that's part of my initial argument here. You don't need to drink electrolyte drinks just as part of daily life. There is no reason that you should be consuming Gatorade, Liquid IV, Prime, Body Armor, any of these electrolyte drinks. They're not necessary for your average, regular, healthy person to just sit and have for lunch.
So I'm going to leave it right where it's at. I think you absolutely check out Brian Sutter, MD's video here, The Truth About Electrolytes, Prime and Lunchly. He goes into far more detail discussing this, and he is credible to discuss this because of his educational background, right? So he will actually explain the difference in this video and tell you why certain drinks are important. But it's not even just Brian that does this. I've seen plenty of videos on Prime from actual workout gurus who discuss why it's just not the best energy drink as compared to like other drinks or even hydration, because there's two different versions of it. But yeah, you know, when you're looking at people, you know, who are in these positions selling this kind of stuff to kids, one of the things I do look at is like, what is the medical efficacy of this kind of stuff, right? Are actual doctors signing on board? If they're not, if they're saying, you know, things are kind of oversold more than they should be, then that's where I get, you know, a little sketched out, right? You know, it's even one thing selling a health product to adults who can actually, most likely should be researching better, but kids, are pretty impressionable in that regard. I don't have an issue with people making products and selling them. Tons of YouTubers, Dan, every single person has sold merch, things throughout throughout like time. But it's one thing to, I guess, sell kind of like a health product like this and basically say, oh, this one electrolyte thing is amazing, right? Well, nobody in this camp is a doctor. When an actual doctor says what you're saying isn't really all that crazy, all right, is more oversold, then I think we have a genuine concern. But yeah, out of all the things out here, this is probably the least intense one for me. What is intense is an actual class action lawsuit that is currently filed in the court of California against MrBeast and Amazon. So in this class action lawsuit, there is complaints for failure to pay minimum wages, liquidated damages for failure to pay minimum wages, failure to pay overtime, sexual harassment, failure to prevent the harassment, negligent infliction of emotional distress, failure to provide uninterrupted meal breaks, failure to provide uninterrupted rest breaks, failure to pay wages promptly upon termination, failure to provide accurate and itemized wage statements, failure to identify for employee expense and losses in discharging duties, unfair business practices, false advertising, and declaratory relief. And a jury trial is demanded. So 14 fucking complaints. Now, obviously, this is a complaint. These are all allegations. But when people are like, well, if you feel you've been wronged, sue the guy. Well, this is it. This is fucking these people suing MrBeast and Amazon. And like I said at the beginning, the relationship that YouTubers have with every contemporary outside also hinges on stuff like this. You think Amazon's going to want to work with people if they find out this is the actual path that they're going down? Or do you think they're going to have more tight-fisted creative controls going forward if they ever work with another YouTuber going forward? So inside this lawsuit, based on the facts that they're alleging, the contestants engaged in what appeared to be a thorough application and vetting process for Beast Games. The contestants who were selected and agreed to serve as contestants on Beast's 2024 production participated in what at the time appeared to be a thorough application and contestant vetting process. The first application in the process, and obviously this is redacted information, most likely a trade secret, once accepted, the contestants were required to put their lives on hold to provide labor exclusively for defendants in exchange for compensation and a chance to win a $5 million prize on Beast Games. So what they're saying is there was also compensation that was supposed to be administered alongside the chance to win $5 million, right? It's not as if any contestant here is just going to give up their life and basically do free labor for somebody. There is some level of a compensation, right? Obviously, it's not like one person out of like 1,000 is going to just get paid money, that $5 million, if they win. There's going to be some compensation and some travel-related expenses, which supposedly they haven't even been reimbursed for, okay? So wild shit, especially from one of the largest companies in the world, Amazon and Amazon MGM. So what they said was defendants failed to provide a safe and healthful environment of employment to the particular and collective detriment of the female contestants. So this is, again, where it gets even just sadder. So production defendants also failed to provide a safe and helpful place to work in violation of Labor Code Section 6300. Production defendants created working conditions that jeopardize the safety of workers, including by not providing sufficient food or drink, taking away their access to something. I'm not even going to assume anything because it's redacted. Not having adequate medical staff on site, especially for, this is insane. And not providing reasonable medical care, forcing them to not sleep, and forcing them to participate in games that unreasonably risked physical and mental injury. Production defendants additionally created a toxic and hostile work environment for, in particular, the female contestants who suffered, redaction, as well as actual harassment through the production, as more fully detailed below. So what they said, according to the MrBeast Success Handybook, and I remember I saw this from Mental Outlaws channel, he basically showcases like leaked MrBeast script that you can just download and watch on Google Drive. It said that it's okay for the boys to be childish if talent wants to draw a dick on a whiteboard in the video or do something stupid, let them. Really do everything you can to empower the boys when filming and help them make content, help them be idiots. So what they said was this document appears to be MrBeast's employee handbook written in the first person from what appears to be Mr. Donaldson's perspective, how to succeed in the MrBeast production. So that actual passage comes from this, it's okay for the boys to be childish. And based on like what I've seen from this allegedly leaked succeeding at MrBeast production, yeah, this is apparently a real passage, it seems. Allegedly, of course. So yeah, if any company had stuff like this, I would definitely question working with them, okay? Look, I know we like to goof around on this channel, but there's times to be an adult and times to be a kid. This situation involved being a fucking adult. The contestants had no autonomy, defendants exercised complete control. So, okay, we got the Gestapo up here. Defendants exercise total control over the manner, means, and timing of the work performed by the contestants by controlling essentially every aspect of their lives during the production of the show. That included but not limited to requiring, controlling, preventing them, directing. Can't really read much of this because of the severe redactions, okay? And I assume it's because to prevent trade secrets or stuff being leaked from the show. Defendants required the contestants to be physically present on specific dates and times around the clock at locations dictated, controlled, and supervised by the defendants. They also had restricted movement, they had no contact, exercised total control over the contestants, I assume personal relationships, but yeah, no, that's what I assume from no contact. Control over their meals, it's just like, it's literally living underneath a fucking like regime at this point. It's crazy. Defendants required contestants to sign an unconscionable agreement with illegal and unenforceable terms. Okay. So as a condition of their employment, defendants required each contestant to enter into a contract of adhesion that was drafted by defendants, which plaintiffs and the proposed class were given to sign under expedient circumstances. And that basically just means that, hey, just sign this really quickly. Let's move on. Come on. We got to chop. We got to film shit. On or about June 6, 2024, on information and belief, the application period for Beast Games opened. To compete in the unprecedented Beast Games, defendants enjoyed superior bargaining power and used it to impose terms and conditions that are unlawful under California law, including Labor Code Section 432.5, which is why this was filed in the state of California. So yeah, reading all of this, it doesn't seem to be good at all for MrBeast. And obviously a lawsuit like this, being that it's a class action, is going to take some time. All right, it will. That's just how most legal proceedings work. But honestly, out of all of this, I'm more interested to see how this lawsuit goes and just if there were seriously severe fuck-ups that genuinely could have impacted somebody's life, somebody's, mental health. And ultimately, the relationship that YouTubers have with a lot of contemporaries outside the platform. Look, at the end of the day, out of a lawsuit like that, I really do hope the best for the people involved. I really hope that if the victims, for what they went through, actually end up getting some adequate relief out of it. But to really tie things up here in this video, because I know it's getting a little longer, my whole view on everything over here is that in reality, it really shows MrBeast, who is by large one of the biggest creators on the platform, and how I guess in some ways I've learned that there is a severe devoid of any personality or any form of being a YouTuber left in that individual, right? Like, I think if you have the capacity to, outright work with somebody like Logan Paul, for instance, who is basically vilified by many YouTubers, and it's not out of any, jealousy or, I guess, anything of that nature, no matter how these people like to put it. It's a genuine dislike of this person's, behavior financially towards his fan base, right? Like, we had the whole CryptoZoo nonsense, and even, as somebody who roots for a fellow friend on this platform, CoffeeZilla Steven, seeing him go through a lawsuit because of him going through and exposing the CryptoZoo nonsense. If you can see somebody on the platform outright do things like that, and your only step towards it is, yeah, I want to combine businesses and work with that guy because there is good money to be made, it really shows me that, where this person's view is on the platform. It's not to necessarily make engaging content or content that they're proud of or content that they like to make, even if it's a 10 out of 10 in the algorithm. It's literally somebody who is motivated entirely by the YouTube algorithm, the statistics, and there is no care at all, especially when they know they have a predominantly younger fan base. It really shows me, what kind of a person MrBeast and by extension KSI is, and I hate playing that, I hate playing that guilt by association train.
I'm just looking at it from a business perspective. I think if you have the, I think if you work with somebody like Logan Paul, it really shows me intellectually where you are business wise. Sure, you make a lot of good money, but clearly you have no care about your brand power in the long term, or at least close to the core community, of YouTube that you're on, right? Like, people will always remember this. And obviously, when it comes to people that have been hired at the company, like, there's still no good answer for some of these lotteries that are questionable. And there isn't any good answer, again, especially when you got those lotteries, potentially, again, the legality can be questioned. But when you've got a, child audience, you do have to be careful with the kind of content you upload, because, there is no joke when it gets to a predatory, style when it's aimed towards children, I guess is what I'm saying. The other thing about it too is the people that are working there. Like, if there are individuals hired at your company, knowingly hired, even with a background with sex crimes potentially, or or like actual convictions on them, or like they're showing up in a background search, there's no good reason to hire them. Like, honestly, there's no good answer as to why they've been hired in the first place. But all of these answers, all of these questions haven't even been answered by the principal individual, MrBeast. And honestly, at this point, I don't think they really will, because the people that are going after MrBeast as well, like bringing these things up, aren't even vetting their allegations properly. And it almost seems like it's just a grift entirely. Nobody really cares at this point about like the ethics or even the children, I think, involved. I think it's just a giant ego battle. And honestly, I really do wish that the people that have been caught up in this crossfire, those who are suing MrBeast because of the Beast games, and the children who are the audience for these various products that are being sold to them, with a bit of an elevated bill of goods, I would say. I really hope the best for everyone involved into it, and I really hope the kids that are watching MrBeast grow up one day and realize, yeah, a guy that is willing to work with some of the scummiest individuals and has literally treated the entire platform as a I guess algorithm, sort of like an algorithm test is one thing that I think kids will, I hope that there is some revelations. But anyways, I'm kind of rambling on. There's a lot of thoughts in my head. I hope I've conveyed everything to the best of my abilities. But ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like it if you dislike it. I am out.